today, in celebration of baconuary, we're gonna show you guys a couple different ways to cook bacon.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll be able to figure out the best way to prepare your crispy meat candy. Yes.
So first thing you need is an apron. Ready? Go!
Ta-da!
Next, bacon.
Definitely multiple packages of bacon.
And this is just a cheapy local bacon.
Yep, you can pick it up at the store, nothing fancy.
We'll be using a stoneware bar pan.
We'll be using a standard cookie sheet.
A pan for our stovetop method.
And a cooling rack on top of a pan for our final oven method.
Now that you know all the methods we're going to use, let's get started.
Woo! Preheat the oven to 350. The first thing you do is open your bacon. And we're going to start with the bar pan first. Spritz the bar pan lightly with some spray. So first method, bar pan bacon. The next method, I'm going to use a cookie sheet. I have a piece of parchment paper I've already cut to size, leaving enough of a rim to catch the bacon grease. Now it's okay if your bacon comes up because it will shrink as it cooks. Second method, cookie sheet with parchment paper. You could also use the same method with aluminum foil. Make sure you use the shiny side up because that will help your bacon cook. Our final oven method, using a cooling rack inside a cookie sheet. I'm going to place some aluminum foil inside the pan to collect the bacon grease and to make cleanup much easier. Proceed to load with bacon.
Bacon.
Third method for the oven, bacon on a cooling rack. Now to put the bacon in. Make sure you wear an oven glove. First, the bar pan. Next, the cookie sheet. The bacon on a cooling rack. Set the timer for 20 minutes.
Hey, just wanted to be in this video for a second.
Now we're going to do our stovetop method. First things first, preheat your pan.
You preheat that pan.
I like to set my stovetop to right in the middle, about 4 to 5, depending on your heat source. Now my pan is pretty large, so I'm using one of the largest burners on my stove. Take your bacon and lay it in the pan.
I smell something, and it smells good. Do you smell what the cat is cooking? I am so awesome for saying that.
Now when I cook bacon, I don't do it for a specific time. I like to use the visual cues of color change to know when my bacon is ready.
So good.
As the bacon cooks, you can see it's curling up. So feel free to adjust the bacon in the pan for optimal cooking. While your bacon is cooking, prepare your cooling rack with paper towels so it can soak up all the tasty bacon grease. So this bacon looks to be just about done to me. So what I'm going to do is turn off the stove, set aside my grease splatter screen, and remove the bacon to the cooling rack. Paper towel. Alright, so our bacon is ready to take out of the oven. First things first, don your oven mitt or glove. Okay, first, cookie sheet with parchment paper. Looks extra crispy. Bar pan. Really good too.
Ooh, it's very flat.
Oh, check this one out.
Yeah. Ooh.
Cookie sheet with the cooling rack.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah, look, I mean, you can see this is pretty evenly cooked. Even the bar pan looks pretty good. It's not sticking. And then the cooling rack, that's really good. Very flat. Now to transfer to the cooling rack for the real, true comparison of what the difference is amongst the cooking methods. Here we have our final bacon. Here is the stovetop pan-fried bacon. Here's the cookie sheet with parchment paper bacon. Here's the cookie sheet with cooling rack bacon. And here's the stoneware bar pan bacon.
There's a noticeable difference, definitely between the oven method and the stovetop.
Yes, the stovetop method definitely lets the bacon curl up a lot more, so you get a lot more texture. Yes, the other thing about the pan-fried bacon is that it might not have a completely even cook because of the way that it curls.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah.
Yep.
But it was definitely faster
Yes.
to cook it in the stove on the stove than it was to cook everything.
The bacon off the cooling rack is that it's stuck just a tad bit, so it seemed to remain a little more flat.
Okay.
But these pieces, I think, curled more because they were thinner.
Got it.
Now, the stoneware, I think, cooked really evenly. It's a really nice golden color.
It's very flat.
And then the cookie sheet with the parchment paper, you can see the edges are much more curled than I think any of the other two oven methods.
So basically, I mean, this all looks really delicious.
It does.
The differences we're discussing here are
They're pretty minor.
Yeah, they're pretty minor. So to me, I mean, you could do any of these methods, and they work really, really well.
I would like to talk about what's left over, what you have to clean up after each of these methods. So let's go over to our pans.
Let's do it. All right, here we are.
We're looking at the aftermath of our bacon cooking. So first we have here the parchment paper cookie sheet method. Now the reason I like this method the best, lift and clean.
That's super easy.
Nothing, no mess. So next is the bar pan.
There's not a whole lot on here. A little bit of grease, a little bit of left behind. The way you care for stoneware is there's a scraper that you take and you kind of scrape off the excess, soak up all the grease, give it a quick rinse with just water, and then you're done.
Okay, our next method is cookie sheet on a cooling rack. It's just going to be a quick lift and toss. You might need to scrub a little bit on the actual rack itself. You can see there's a couple little drippings on there, but it's pretty minor cleanup. And then my least favorite of all cooking methods is the pan.
Oh my god.
So the grease screen obviously is greasy, but you can see it's a lot darker now. There's a lot of bacon cleanup. I have this extra can of bacon grease that you have to let cool and then throw away. To me, this is just much more messy, and there's just a lot more cleanup. Personally, I love the parchment paper cookie sheet method.
I think that is, if you don't have stoneware, because there's a cost investment in stoneware, I think that makes the most sense. Parchment paper is super cheap, and you can get it at any store. Yep. And who doesn't have a cookie sheet?
Exactly. And now for the taste test! Yes! Yay, the best part!
I've been waiting all day for this.
Yes. So I would say this pan fried, it's crunchy and also chewy.
Yeah, it's really good. All right, next is the cookie sheet with the parchment paper. I don't know, I really like this too.
It's definitely not as crunchy. Could have gone longer in the oven if you wanted it a little bit crispier.
I like this though. I feel like the taste is I feel like I'm getting more bacon taste out of this. There was almost like a charred taste.
Still has a nice soft texture, and be really great for chopping up to adding to recipes.
Yeah, definitely. I could like see that on like a salad.
This next method is cookie sheet with cooling rack.
Yeah, good.
Well, it's very crunchy. Kind of like this one.
Yeah, me too.
I wonder if the crispiness is also because it wasn't sitting in the fat.
Yeah.
All the fat dripped down through the cooling rack. Okay, our final piece. Stoneware bar pan. The thinner part of the bacon is definitely crunchy, crispy.
Yeah. This is really similar to the cooling rack. I really like the flavor. I mean, I know it was all the same bacon, but I don't know, there's something about the bar pan that tasted different.
Could be because it's seasoned already.
That's a good point. I do use it a lot. I do use the good bacon a lot.
So overall, I think it depends on what your final purpose of the bacon is going to be.
I totally agree with you. Because I definitely feel like the parchment paper, if you were going to do something where you like want to wrap bacon around, like a bacon wrap date, I think that would be really good for that because it's still pliable enough and it's still chewy enough and you're not going to get a bunch of crumbling.
Yes.
It would roll really nicely. But if you want a BLT, definitely go with one of the other three, I think, over the parchment paper.
I would probably go with the cooling rack because it's a little crunchy, it's a little crispy, because I want to have that bacon crumble in every bite.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Everybody, that was our best way to cook bacon video.
We hope you enjoyed all the different varieties, and I want to know what your favorite way to cook bacon is.
Yes, show us on Instagram. Use the hashtag baconuary.
Yes, take a picture of both cooking and eating.
So don't forget to like this video, subscribe on YouTube.
And stay tuned for more bacon-related videos where we're going to make some awesome bacon crafts and delicious ways to make.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait for you guys to see what we're going to do with all of this bacon.
Peace out, thingies!
Bye, thingies! Happy Fatty Bacon Man. All right. Look, I'm cooking bacon.